It is time now for a deeper dive into some of the week's top stories with our Insiders panel. This week, welcoming Business Furniture and Choreo CEO Mary Beth Oakes. Also, IndiePolitics.org publisher Abdul-Hakim Shabazz. And VOX Global Managing Director Mike Marker. Welcome one and all to the Insiders this week.
Thank you.
We will start out with more big news from Purdue. A number of big announcements this year, among them the fact that Mitch Daniels will be stepping away. But when I asked him, Mike, a couple of weeks ago, what's next, he said, well, I've got some announcements I'm going to be making at Purdue. And I think this maybe was one of them.
Okay.
$1.8 billion. SkyWater Technology, Minnesota-based semiconductor company, building an R&D facility, fabrication facility, 750 jobs. Big news.
Yeah, big announcement. Congratulations to Purdue on this, their Discovery Park. Lots of really good things happening up there. I think this news is broader than Purdue when you look at what other institutions are doing as well with IU and Notre Dame and Ivy and Rose. They've come together as a group to try to address this global semiconductor shortage. And I think it's important on a number of levels in our everyday lives with our cars and things like that. But I think for our state, it's critically important, and our national security for defense. I saw a study that said 12% of the semiconductors come out of the U.S., but almost all of our defense weaponry, new ones especially, have semiconductor chips in them. So it's a real big national security issue, and so the work happening around this to up our game and output's really important.
And an opportunity for Indiana in a big way.
Absolutely.
I think. Yeah.
A big opportunity, and I just love the way that it just continues that trend of attracting the most innovative minds, the most innovative businesses. I love, Mitch Daniels and his entrepreneurial spirit that drives that innovation and really attracts that type of company. I mean, if you think about SkyWater and what they can accomplish and the other partners that they're going to attract by their presence there, it's exciting. I think it means more to come.
Yeah, and to dovetail off that, what Mitch Daniels has accomplished, aside from the academic side, on the business side,
Yes.
if you will, and the investment that has been made, continues to be made, and I think this is another kind of a snowball effect.
Exactly. If you look at all the investments they had to make when Mitch Daniels was governor from 2004 to 2012, we're now starting to see some of the end results of a lot of that. Like I said, my only concern is, once again, do we have the workforce and the education, the skill set to go and deal with, like, whether it's the jobs up in Lafayette or up in Boone County and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Speaking of jobs, green jobs, a report out this week from a nonprofit based in Los Angeles, pegging demand for green jobs in Indiana to increase nearly 30% over the next 5 years. That's a big number. The national average is something like 5 or 6%. So, Mike, we were talking off camera. You think that might be underestimating?
I'd be really surprised if they haven't underestimated that number here. And to Abdul's point, where are we going to get the workers? When you think about the green job evolution, and two of the biggest sectors that's happening are agriculture and manufacturing. Two of our biggest sectors are agriculture and manufacturing. Yep. So when you think about green job growth, a lot of it's going to happen here, and we're going to have the workforce to meet that demand. And
then even like the green-enabled jobs,
right.
That where the upskilling can happen, right? That it can impact maybe folks in the trades too, right?
For sure.
With the right upskilling,
Is part of it too, in terms of fueling that pipeline, kind of an understanding of what these jobs are, and be able to get the training for it?
It is trying to figure out who really is impacted, and who, where do we offer them those additional skills that they need, right? But to me, it looks like it's coming in two different layers. I mean,
action at the State House, Abdul, right? Special session.
Yay.
Wow.
Looking forward to Monday morning.
Yeah, on a number of fronts. Among them, news this week that kind of got I haven't seen a lot about it, but the Senate coming up with its own plan, kind of ditching the governor's plan for a tax refund. Give us.
Yes, the senators had always expressed concerns with the governor's tax refund. You get a tax refund if you pay taxes, but there are a lot of folks who are productive citizens but don't necessarily pay tax, like senior citizens, folks on disability income. And so what the Senate did was they scrapped the governor's automatic tax refund plan, the $225 plan. Instead, they They got rid of the tax on utilities, froze the gas tax and the sales tax on gasoline. So that'll help Hoosiers fight inflation, also reach more people, particularly those individuals who don't pay taxes. Now, on the House side, they've still got the automatic tax refund in there, and the governor still wants. So we're going to have a lot of back and forth between now and August 14th when they technically have to adjourn.
Yeah, and that's not even bringing up the whole abortion issue, which obviously was initially the reason the special session was called in the first place.
There expect to be thousands of protesters at the State House next week, so here we go.
Yeah, and Mike, you made the point that the abortion, reproductive rights issue is a business issue.
Yeah,
can be.
It's an issue on a number of fronts, and business and our economy is one of those, right? I mean, you look at, is this a RFRA 2.0 in some ways, where some employers will say, we're not moving jobs to that state because of legislation that they might take, this action they might take. And it's also a jobs and economy issue because employers who are here that want to attract and retain talent, many of them are going to have to step forward if action is taken by this General Assembly, to pay for their employees to seek reproductive care in other states. So it's going to cost them as well.
Yeah. Big news in the last week or so, a leadership change at Cummins. Only the 7th CEO in the company's history. Jennifer Rumsey will take over that role from Tom Linebarger, who will remain as chairman. Rumsey is only, I think, Mary Beth, 30 or 34 or 35 female CEOs in the S&P 500.
Right.
So she's among an elite group, slowly growing group. But your take on this, because we had her on the show at the top of the show, very excited about it. Grew up in Columbus, in the shadow of Cummins. Never imagined, she said, that she could one day be there, but here she is.
I think it's a great story for females everywhere. You know, I've always been very impressed with Cummins' approach to mentoring female leaders. They've been a partner of ours for many years, and I love just watching how they mentor female leaders. So when I heard about this promotion, I was super excited. I think I just want to congratulate her. I think it's a whole new era for their company. But, you know, like we were talking about earlier, they've always looked at things a little bit differently, and I think this is just another example of how they're trying to do that. And if you look at their company core values, it's all about, you know, diversity and inclusion. And so I think they really do live what they tell you that they believe, and that's a good example. Yeah,
and Mike, back to your point on the environment, Jennifer Rumsey made the point that they view climate change, the environment, as opportunity, not an impediment to business, but they view it as a growth vehicle potential.
Yeah, they've been really smart on that front for a number of years now. Tom led that charge. Jennifer certainly played a key role in it as COO there. So I think in this new role, you're going to see more of it. But when you look at environment, ESG, environmental, social, and governance, they're ranked very well, not just in their group, but broadly. And there was a report on top 100 corporate citizens. They rank 59th, and people point to that as the ESG work that they're doing. They invest a lot of time and energy in it, and they are very much moving forward on that.
Yeah, on the diversity issue, should mention also a new initiative by the state's Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Hoosier Business in Action is the program, and they're basically taking 22 companies, small companies from around the state, doing videos to promote them, to give them to the companies to use for their purposes, but also for the state to use.
Yes, and it's good on a couple of fronts. Number one, it promotes diversity, which is a good thing because the more voices we have, the more players we have, the better the economy does. But also, Indiana has also had earned a reputation for only helping sort of the big businesses. A lot of folks say, what about my smaller business, my medium-sized business? And I think this goes a long way to showing, hey, Indiana's here, whether big business, small business, as long as you're willing to work hard, play by the rules, we're here to help.
Yeah. I love that too. I think it's all about that small, medium-sized business promotion and giving them that same opportunity, right, to gain new business, new opportunities, not just the large companies.
Yep. Mary Beth Oakes, also Mike Marker, Abdul-Hakim Shabazz. Thanks one and all for being on the Insiders, and we'll be right back after this.